CNA's Laura Jones for It's Your Call in Person. Auto insurance is expensive in New Jersey. Governor McGreevey says he has a plan that will lower your bill, but critics say no matter what the plan, it simply costs a lot of money to drive in New Jersey. So what do you think? It's your call.
I think it's all too high in New Jersey. I think there's a lot that can be done.
It's too high, and they should just, weed out the bad people.
The overcharge, I mean, obviously everybody agrees with the same thing, and we got to come up with some other methods of charging less for insurance, because it doesn't compensate.
Well, everyone agrees that the prices are too high, but not everyone agrees on what, if anything, can be done about it. We want to know whether or not you share that skepticism, or whether you think that there's actually hope on the horizon that your auto insurance rates could go down. If you want to join in and tell us what you think, go ahead and give us a call. Joining us now is New Jersey State Senator John Adler of the 6th Legislative District of New Jersey and Assemblyman Paul D'Amato of New Jersey's 2nd Legislative District, who has authored legislation that will reform the state's auto insurance industry. Good to have you gentlemen with us.
Good to be here.
Excellent.
Now, I know that protocol says I should speak to the state senator first, but you're the Republican, so I want to know what you think about Governor McGreevey's comments yesterday and his plan to reform auto insurance.
It's more Band-Aids. The state legislature since 1970-72, both Democrats and Republicans have been putting Band-Aids on a cancer. The legislation that my partner Frank Blee and I have introduced, what we do is we scrap the whole system. We get rid of no fault, which hasn't worked. You know, when no fault was adopted by the state legislature in New Jersey, 36 other states said, we're not going to have it. We don't think it works. Since that time, we have about 10 states that have no fault. So I would get rid of the no fault. I would create an open competitive insurance market so we can get more carriers here. And at the same time, I would not make automobile insurance mandatory.
Not make automobile insurance mandatory. Is this a novel idea, something that you would agree with? Give us a call. Let us know. Is it a good idea or one you want to see him toss out the window?
Well, the problem with an idea like that is that if you have more people driving without insurance, it means those of us that pay for insurance will have higher rates because we'll have to insure against uninsured drivers. Right now we have a system where if someone's at fault, you can sue them and get recovery of your medical damages and other costs. What Paul's suggesting will raise the cost for a lot of drivers. We can't afford higher rates. One of the things the governor talked about, I think, in his very good speech yesterday, was we have to look at where some people are buying too much insurance. There are people that don't need to have $1,000 per car because they don't have a lot of assets to insure. Let some people pay less because they don't need as much insurance as they've been paying for years.
Now, see, this was the point that I made before we went to the break, Rolando, and I said, you're going to have people. If you have 3 people in a room, you're going to have 3 people with 3 ideas. And you said there is a consensus, but how are you going to get the legislature to back any one particular plan?
Well, the consensus is that we have to do something to change the marketplace as exists right now. And we have the ideas. We have people talking to each other. The governor has said that basically he wants a bipartisan effort on this issue, and he's setting the tone, and that's extremely important. We're not sniping at each other. We know that change is necessary. The degree of change and what we're going to do, as the devil's always in the details. However, we are going to deal with issues. The fraud piece. Fraud is an extremely important issue. It drives up the cost of insurance. Uninsured drivers drive up the cost of insurance. Putting the having.
But that's almost like a catch-22. Uninsured drivers drive up the cost, but half the time they can't afford the cost of the insurance. Well, that's why they don't have it.
That's why the governor's been working on that, and the commissioner of banking insurance, who works with Rolando, they've been both very clear about this. There should be a less expensive policy for people who don't have a lot of assets to protect, but who want the basic components of automobile insurance, which is get your car fixed, get your body fixed, the basics, and have a limited right to sue. Those people don't need to protect, $1 million home in the suburbs. They need to protect themselves and their cars.
But, Senator, for the last year, I have heard the administration say that because a certain number of New Jersey residents do not have automobile insurance, that our rates are going up. However, when I spoke to 2 insurance underwriters in 2 different companies that do work in New Jersey, They told me that if every resident in New Jersey who owns a car had automobile insurance tomorrow, maybe your rates would go, your premium would go down by $5. Now, these are industry people telling me that having everybody insured is not going to work. And with the governor's recent proposal, that if a person gets that policy for $365, it's my understanding they have no liability insurance. So that means if you're involved with a person that has that $365 policy, they have no liability insurance, and you're going to have to go back on your own policy and make a claim against the uninsured or the underinsured motorist coverage.
So what's the answer? Do we just throw the whole thing out and start again?
Well, I think Orlando and Paul are talking about two different things. Paul's saying we should change what it is we buy, the insurance product that we all buy. I don't disagree with that. I think that's the right approach. What Orlando's saying, what the governor said yesterday very appropriately, is the marketplace is very troubled, and we have to somehow change the structure of the marketplace, or we'll have other insurance companies leave the state, and we can't afford that easily.
Why that is a governmental issue, whether or not certain businesses come into the state or leave the state. I mean, why should New Jersey government or any government get involved in that?
Because we're involved in regulating to protect consumers. I mean, this insurance
is... I'm going to tell you, Rolando, they don't feel protected right now.
Well,
am I right?
Tell
me what you think.
Yeah, they may not feel protected. However, when you look at markets in insurance that are unregulated, such as commercial, you see the enormous increases, the kinds of increases that we've seen in auto insurance over the years, although they hurt, still are not the kinds of increases you're going to see in non-regulated markets.
On that note, we need to take another break, but we're going to come back in just a moment. And when we return, we're going to hear from the insurance industry to give you a different point of view. As always, though, we want your point of view. Tell us what you think by calling, emailing us, or taking our web poll at cn8.tv.